These allowed first wool and then cotton to be spun and weaved at much greater speed. What is wool? Wool is the hair of a sheep or another animal, all right? Or the material made from animals' wool. Okay? The thread or the cloth. And cotton, later to be spun. The base form of spun is spin, all right? What does spin mean? Spin means producing thread, okay, by twisting fibers, all right? That is spinning. Weaving, as I have told you earlier, is the process of making, is the act of making cloth by crossing threads over and under each other. That is weaving, all right? And this is what the inventions, right? Needed enormous amount of cotton, which were imported from Americas, India, and Egypt. Americas means what? North America and South America. Primarily means most importantly. The English merchant group of ships transported the cotton, and it was protected by the Royal Navy. Royal means what? Of the king, all right? Which dominated, which ruled the oceans. Dominate means to be the most powerful thing, or the most successful thing, or an influential thing in a situation. Especially after the defeat of Napoleon's French army, okay? No, armed forces at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. Defeat is what? Winning a victory over someone, right? So they won Napoleon's French forces at the Battle of Trafalgar. And the cotton industry imported raw materials, which is cotton, to the country and turned it into useful products. Means made it into a cloth or clothes or carpets or curtains or anything, and exported them overseas at great profit. That means what? Making a lot of money. So what is this part about? This part is about what? Cotton being a big thing in England, and financial investments, okay? People investing money enabled inventions such as flying shuttle, the spinning jenny, the power loom, and they all made wool and cotton to be produced at a much higher speed than people could do. And these inventions, for the cotton to be produced, a large amount of cotton, the products of cotton to be produced, a large amount of cotton were needed, and they were imported from the Americas, India, and Egypt. And when doing this, the English merchant group of ships transported the cotton, and it was protected by the Royal Navy, okay? And the cotton industry imported raw materials and turned it into useful products and made a lot of money. That's what this part of it is about. The English government encouraged the growth of the cotton industry by making laws activating laws, okay, and which made the previous laws invalid, okay, and the previous laws were the ones that limited the importation and usage of cotton. Abetted, what does abet mean? Abet means to help or encourage something wrong or encouraging a crime, okay? That is abetting. So this just means encouraged, all right? By passing a law means approving the law, okay? Making it valid. Overturning, what does that mean, overturn? Overturn means to officially decide that a legal decision is not right or invalid. Do you understand? So the earlier ones limited the importation of cotton, but the government passed a law which made these previous ones invalid. Do you understand? The old law's intention was what? Was to protect the country's wool industry, but by 1774, when the new law was made, all right, cotton was thought to be the future of the country's textile industry. So that's why they overturned the previous laws by approving the importation of cotton. The old law limited the importation of cotton because they wanted to protect the wool industry. But they at this point they thought that cotton was going to be the future of the country's textile industry. You understand? When a new law was enacted, what does enact mean? Enact means to make something, make an opinion into a law is enacting. Enact means to make something into an act. Act means law, all right? Regarded means was thought, okay? Textile is what? Is cloth, especially the ones that are made by weaving. The ones that are woven is textile. By 1801, Britain was importing 54 million tons of cotton 1 year, and by 1803 was exporting more cotton textiles than wool ones. All right. Indeed, what does that mean? Indeed means when you want to strengthen what you have. When you want to say something that strengthens what you have just said, all right? Manchester in northern England became the center of much of this industrial growth, all right? Hub is a center of an activity, all right? Hub is originally the center of a wheel. That is a hub. You understand? Okay, let me draw you a picture about this. That's deep. So if this is a wheel, this part would be the hub, all right? center of an activity. It's the hub. You use the word in that meaning. Okay, and with this fast industrialization, the city, which is Manchester in northern England, became the second biggest city with the most people in the entire country. Populate means to be people living there, all right? Urban center. Urban means of the city, all right? So what is this part about? The English government helping the growth of cotton industry by doing what? Passing laws, all right? Passing a law which restricted, or which which changed the previous laws restricting the importation of cotton. All right. The old laws were, the intention of the old laws were to protect the country's wool industry, but cotton was thought to be, at this time, cotton was thought to be the future of the country's textile industry. So they did that. Britain imported a lot of cotton, and they started to be exporting more cotton than wool, all right? And one example is Manchester, the city of Manchester in northern England, becoming the center of this growth, the growth of cotton. And this city became the second most populated, the city with second largest number of people living there in the entire country. Okay. All right. And now it's overseas. The textile industry in India could not compete with English textile factories. All right. Mills. What is a mill? Mill is a factory producing steel or wool or cotton. After English colonizing India in the 18th century, India's textile industry decreased, became weakened, and it became a provider of raw materials than finished products. Once means what? After, all right? Colonize means to take control of a foreign country by force. Decline means to weaken, become smaller or weaker. And another result of the industry growing was many American southern states started growing cotton on large plantations that used slave labor. Immense means very large. Plantation is what? Plantation is a large area of land where they grow crops such as rubber, coffee, tea, sugar, all right? Mostly in, especially in tropical areas.